Hi there. Wanted to talk a little bit today on loving what is. And many of you have heard me refer to the work of Byron Katie and suggest that if you are struggling in your experience, or there appears to be struggling happening, that a really good place to start is an inquiry around thoughts. And for this experience of Kelly, I've found that she has a very simple approach to really looking at the thoughts and allowing the recognition to happen that you are not your thoughts. That being said, I am not forming a religion around what Byron Katie shares in the work. Certainly, anything can be turned into another religion, and I'm aware of that and have actually had people make that statement. I think all the teachings are beautiful. All teachers are beautiful. What I find is so beautiful about Byron Katie's work is that it's so simplistic and that it is immediate results. And most people who are struggling want something to arise immediately to help them feel better about what's going on, and that's what I find Byron Katie's work does. Gives you an opportunity to really inquire in the thought that whatever is happening should not be happening. You know, thoughts arise. They're not coming from anywhere. They're just arising. And it is the believing of the thoughts that's causing the pain and the suffering. It's not what's happening. It's our mind's perception of what's happening and our mind's story around it that says this should not be happening. When the thought is believed, suffering always happens. When the thought is inquired and turned around, the thought lets go of me, the story of me, the experience of me. What I'm hearing in many of the replies and comments is that it's too simple, it's too easy, it must be harder than this. You make it sound so easy. And my response is it is easy. What's hard is the struggle, the stories, the thoughts, the pain. That's hard. And yet what happens is the mind becomes addicted to it and attached. And so this conditioning happens that believes that I am the thoughts, and this attachment is happening with the thoughts, and this addiction around being with the thoughts. And then all of a sudden that becomes the story. The story is I am the thought. But we're never the thought. Never. So I continue to get messages of people telling their stories, and the stories are elaborate. I mean, there's pages of pages, and some people are sending me several emails with volumes of stories. And that's beautiful. It's happening. It's in my reality right now, so there's no resistance to it. There's a complete acceptance and a loving and a kindness around it. And yet there's a recognition as well that the video is being watched and not heard or absorbed or taken on board, because there is still this belief that the story is the reason the person is where they are. If the story is I'm stuck, this is my reason, this is my validation, let me give you the backup details to support why I'm stuck. And there is no experience of Kelly arguing with where you are. The intention is for you to have your own awareness around the fact that the story is just the story. It just is. It's just arising. You can certainly lay out all of the details of why you think you've gotten there. The map really does not make sense, quote unquote sense. The map just is. The map of the path of the journey just is. In my last video, I quoted a beautiful friend of mine, Jessica Schaub, often says that we are in this physical illusion playing peekaboo with the self. Because we're all of this. How can I experience me if I'm all of it? There's this need for a belief in separation, so that there is this belief in a me or a self or an I that's able to somehow see itself. And in all of this experience are these thoughts just dropping, dropping, dropping. And until the realization happens that I'm not the thought, the mind grabs onto that thought and builds a story around it. One of the most beautiful stories floating around is that I need to surrender and release something. Well, who is the I that's surrendering and releasing? What is there to surrender and release? I'm all of this. There is an acceptance of all of it. There's no discount. There's no discernment. There's no, okay, this is good, put this in this bucket. This is bad, put this in this bucket. I'm only going to focus on this. That's a belief, again, in separation. That there's some I here to do something. This is all simply happening. It's all mapped. It's all here to be loved, embraced, and enjoyed. Even the stuff we call bad. Many inquire about being able to manifest in this. You know, the inquiry comes, well, how do I manifest if everything's mapped? What's the point of having positive thinking, and what's the point of having experience if all of this is already mapped? Why don't I just sit in a chair and let it happen? If that's what's mapped, that's what you're going to do. Manifestation happens. There's no doer doing it. If the experience arises that I'm going to be sitting and working on a vision board, and it's a beautiful outlay of things that I am intending to bring into my experience, and they are coming, then that is beautifully, beautifully what is intended, what is mapped. Does that take the beauty away from the experience? Only if you allow it to. The masters have beautiful quotes and teachings. Should they become yours? They're part of the experience. They're beautiful. You should enjoy them and embrace them and love them just as you would art hanging on a wall. You're all of this. You're all of it. Nothing is discounted. Nothing is removed. All is accepted. All is welcomed. Sorry, I keep trying to get without my head being chopped off here. So, you know, this is a simple message, and yet the mind wants to complicate it. The mind wants to overthink and analyze it. And I continue to still get beautiful messages perfectly where they are about the fact that people believe I had my experience, but they don't believe that my experience is accurate. And that one is probably the one I get the most chuckle over. I really do get a big chuckle over that one. Who is here with the near-death experience Bible that says, if you did not have this experience in this exact way, and your recognition of that experience does not fit these guidelines, then you in fact had a wrong near-death experience? I just get a giggle out of it. There is no judgment of it. There's no anger or resentment. I read the emails and the comments and the messages, and I just simply find them all beautiful and perfect, and they could not be any other way. They just couldn't. What is happening is always happening the way it is intended. Arguing with that is where the suffering comes in. I've said over and over again that I still catch myself in a story. The only difference is I'm able to have perspective around it. I will even say to people, I'm in a story right now. Let me be here. I pop out of it much faster, but there is still a human element to this. There's still a human need to go into stories until there's not. So just a quick little message on that today. Keep the questions coming. We'll continue to respond as quickly as I can. And I send you all a big hug. In love. Till next time.